CP Radhakrishnan is the new Vice President of the country. It has been an election like no other. Very few times in the past have vice presidential elections been fought with such fervor and such fierceness and with so much of a media spotlight. The NDA said it was a foregone conclusion, and it indeed was, because the person who has won was always expected to win, because the numbers were on the NDA's side. But nevertheless, it turned out to be a fierce fight, a high-octane battle, a battle of prestige, a battle of nerves, and a battle of both sides wanting to prove a point, especially since there was a controversy over the exit of the last vice president, and there was suspense over the entire vote chori mood that the opposition, especially Rahul Gandhi, has been trying to drum up in the country. Well, it turns out that opposition unity, which had been trumpeted by the Congress party's leaders in the run-up to this election, stands completely exposed, because of the 315 opposition MPs who all turned up to vote, it turns out that only 300 of them actually voted for the opposition candidate, and the rest may have cross-voted. It's a mystery. It basically exemplifies that there are cracks in the coalition. The Congress is now bickering and pointing a finger at the Aam Aadmi Party, while the BJP-led NDA gets set to celebrate. It's only the latest in a series of setbacks to the India Bloc, but the Congress party still finds it fit to say that this, despite the arithmetic, is a moral and political defeat of the BJP and the NDA. Can you believe it? There are narratives saying that this is the second smallest victory margin in decades, and that alone should make the NDA actually sit and contemplate its future. Well, a win is a win in any election, as they say, and CP Radhakrishnan has been congratulated for the first time by the man who he replaces, Jagdeep Dhankar, whose first words after exiting office in that unceremonious manner some weeks ago is to congratulate the man who will now sit in the chair that he unceremoniously vacated. So CP Radhakrishnan is all set to become the next Vice President of the country. There is a big celebratory event at the home of Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi in a short while from now. The Prime Minister has congratulated CP Radhakrishnan as well. Aishwarya Jain is with us live from the ground. Aishwarya, the dignitaries have already started arriving. The mood is already set. The opposition says it's a moral victory for them, but the numbers don't lie. What are you hearing from the ground? What are we expecting to see tonight?
Well, the Bharatiya Janata Party is certainly asking a valid question when the Congress Party claiming that it's 315 MPs that supports both from the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha to the India Bloc. Then how come there were only 300 votes that were casted in favor of Sudershan Reddy? It is, of course, the cross voting that have taken place, but because it's a secret ballot, you cannot ask anyone, or you cannot find out that who had voted for who. So clearly, that's going to be a very secret but interesting, sequence of events that are going to take place from here on, because the Bharatiya Janata Party have already have started questioning the unity of the India Bloc. But let me quickly show you these visuals from Prahlad Joshi's residence, where in a very short moment there would be Prime Minister who would be arriving over 17 days for CP Radhakrishnan, and now it has turned into after party place, I might say, because there are celebrations all across which are happening, dance programs. On the other side there is these stages which have been set up. There you can see from north, south, east and west, all the cultural dance programs are being showcased, and one after another dignitaries are arriving. BJP President JP Nadda, Kiran Rijiju, Ram Mohan Naidu and other senior ministers have already arrived. And now, because I can see the route for this road has been closed, so very short moment from now we can expect Prime Minister or either Home Minister Joshi to congratulate Mr. CP Radhakrishnan.
Okay, so the Prime Minister and the Home Minister will also be there at Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi's residence to felicitate and congratulate CP Radhakrishnan, who is set to take over as the new Vice President of the country. We've got the first big reaction from government. Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, who was at the NDTV Profit GST conclave just a moment ago, has just spoken to NDTV's political editor Vasudha Venugopal. This is a big exclusive first reaction in from the government.
Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal joins us now. Thank you, Mr. Goyal, for speaking to NDTV. Congratulations. The vice presidential election, the outcome was known, but 14 people seem to have cross-voted. First of all, tell us, how do you feel about this election result?
I think our numbers need to be corrected. The NDA strength in both the houses combined was 427. We have received 452 votes. That's 25 votes more than the NDA strength. This clearly demonstrates that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policies, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership of the nation, taking the country on the path of progress and prosperity and inclusive growth, resonates even with members against the BJP and against the NDA, so much so that 25 members have voted for the NDA candidate, Shri CP Radhakrishnan ji. I convey my heartiest congratulations to Shri CP Radhakrishnan ji on this important election victory and wish him well as the Vice President of India and the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha.
Mr. Goyal, do you see this as strategy, coordination, or the choice of the candidate?
Well, I think this is clearly reflective of the popularity that the NDA, its leadership, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the good policies of the Modi government, which is now resonating even with members of the opposition who prefer to be supporting the government rather than supporting the negativity and the very, very poor policies or shifting stand that the leaders of the opposition have been showing the nation.
Right, so 25 is a huge number. So how did you manage that?
We did not have to manage it. They have all voted suo moto. It was a secret election. Nobody could influence anybody's vote, and therefore they had the courage to vote for the NDA candidate.
Thank you so much.
And while the Congress is claiming that this is a moral and political defeat of the BJP, at the same time, it's ironic that the Congress party, the leader of the India Bloc, has just blamed the Aam Aadmi Party for the cross-voting that appears to have occurred, leading to a big breakdown in the unity of the India Bloc. The mystery of at least 15 cross-voters from the India Bloc, because there are 315 India Bloc MPs, 300 votes have been counted from the India Bloc side for the India Bloc candidate. The Congress has hit out at the BJD, the BRS and the YSRCP of Jagan Mohan Reddy and said that history will judge them. He says the non-NDA parties stand fully exposed. Manikam Tagore says that they have chosen expediency over ideology. This comes in the wake of the Congress pointing a finger also at the Aam Aadmi Party and saying they must have cross-voted and that there is no mystery as to where these votes must have actually gone. Himanshu is live with me. He's on the ground. He's been tracking the big fallout of this entire political implosion. Himanshu, the Congress pointing a finger at pretty much everyone right now, from the Aam Aadmi Party to the BJD to the BRS to the YSRCP, even while claiming that this is a moral and political defeat of the BJP. Himanshu.
A very important question. See, Shiv, just look at the tweet that Jairam Ramesh had tweeted exactly at 5:14 p.m., 14 minutes after the voting had ended. And he had said, and I quote, the opposition has stood united. All of its 315 MPs have turned up for voting. This is an unprecedented 100% turnout. So the question now arises is that if they actually get 300 MPs to support their candidate, then who are these 15 MPs whom the India Bloc actually had trusted will vote for Sudershan Reddy, but they did not vote for its candidate? The question is now about the fissures in the opposition rank. Well, they are talking about Aam Aadmi Party, but Aam Aadmi Party has always made it clear, Shiv, even during the monsoon session, that the alliance that was forged with the Congress was only for the Lok Sabha elections.
Yeah.
So in the monsoon session, we saw Aam Aadmi Party take a very distinct line from the Congress Party. So there is a blame game in the opposition camp, clearly a very big setback. And one more important point that I wanted to put here was that till yesterday night, a very senior BJP leader had told me that we are hoping to get support of around 437 MPs for our candidate. But the real number that has now come up is 452. Exactly 15 more is what NDA has got, and exactly 15 less is what Jairam Ramesh was claiming. So clearly, there are MPs who have cross-voted, mostly from the opposition rank. And of course, the blame game will only deepen now as the big picture will emerge as to who were the turncoats who did not turn out for the India Bloc.
So who were these turncoats? Let's try and find out. But before that, we've got another update. The Vice President-elect CP Radhakrishnan has just formally thanked Prime Minister Modi as well. He's just put out a statement saying heartfelt thanks to Prime Minister Modi. He'll get to do that in person in a few short moments from now. The Prime Minister and the Home Minister will be heading to Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi's house for that victory celebration, really. Remember, the result was a bit of a foregone conclusion, a pretty tame affair. But the political mood in the country right now means that even the most innocuous of elections, including vice presidential elections, have become hotly contested face-offs and battles like this one has been. Not only a war of numbers, but also a war of narratives. That's the reason why, despite this defeat, you're hearing about how the victory margin has shrunk and how it's a moral and political defeat of the BJP. But that's the way politics works in this country. But who are these mystery cross voters? Let's try and get some sense in from our analysts joining us on the show. Amitabh Tiwari, Sajjan Kumar. Amitabh, to you first. What is your reading of this? Was it expected that there would be some cross voting? Is this really that much of a surprise? Surely this kind of thing has happened before, but at a time when opposition unity was being trumpeted as a big deal by senior leaders in the opposition, this comes as a bit of an embarrassment. Who do you think cross-voted, Amitabh?
I think even if you assume that all the 15 MPs whose votes were declared as invalid were from the Congress party, then of course 315 minus 15 is 300. So all of them literally voted for the India Bloc candidate is one scenario. But in Aam Aadmi Party had announced support for the India Bloc candidate.
Yeah.
So we have to see 315 plus 12. 327 was the number of the India Bloc, literally. They've got 300. So 15 might be, if we assume all of them from India Bloc invalid votes, and then 12 AAP numbers come into question. But we'll never be able to gauge, because even some DMK MPs could have voted on the basis of the candidature of CP Radhakrishnan ji hailing from the state. We have always heard murmurs about the Shiv Sena UBT and the NCP SP as well, correct? So what I'm trying to say is that the catchment area for the India Bloc was literally 350 MPs, because 327 is India Bloc plus Aam Aadmi Party, and they hoped that they would get YSRCP and BRS on board because the candidate was from Telangana, correct? So that again becomes 442, and they should have got BJD support also, because BJD is now the principal opposition party to BJP in Odisha.
Yeah.
So they have failed at strategy, announcing a forward caste candidate instead of an OBC while talking about caste census. Then they have failed at outreach. We did not see significant outreach from the India Bloc, correct? If there was, it has failed. Then we are seeing failure at floor management level, because there are again MPs who have announced support to the India bloc, but the Congress party or the Jairam Ramesh is tweeting only about 315 MPs. He is silent about the 12 MPs of AAP. So that's also.
So it's not 15, it's actually a question of 27.
And then
15 plus 12.
execution, because 15 people have cast invalid votes because training and development there, because NDA held a training for 2 days.
Yeah.
So the question here is where and how did these votes disappear? So it's a failure at 4 levels of the India bloc, I would say.
Very interesting. A failure at 4 levels, not 15, but 27 is the actual scale of that potential cross vote, if we are to assume that, it happened in that sort of neat manner. Wonder whether we will ever actually know how it turned out. Perhaps it will remain forever in the realm of the kind of political tutu meme that's occurring. But Sajjan Kumar, what is your reading? How much of a mishandling happened at the India bloc level? Because this was projected as a battle of wills, a battle of candidates, that it was game on, not a foregone conclusion. That energy was being invested in putting up a solid fight. This wasn't just a walkover for the NDA, which otherwise pretty much had the numbers to make this a foregone conclusion. What is your reading, Sajjan? Okay, I think we've lost that link with Sajjan Kumar. Amitabh, I'll come back to you. How would, in the realm of narrative, you will have Congress leaders say this is a moral and political defeat of the BJP beyond the arithmetic. Those are the things that have to be said in the political language, because defeat is never an easy thing, and you have to be able to spin it in a certain way and project it in a certain way in order to keep the sort of political morale up, as it were. But what are the implications of this, broadly speaking, for the India bloc? I mean, cracks in the coalition, disunity, these are hardly new things. We've seen them for, the entire history of the India bloc, short history of the India bloc. We have seen these internal scuffles, factional fights, contradictions, etc. What does this particular one mean for them?
See, what this means is that the initial euphoria which they had received after the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, wherein the NDA did receive a setback and was pushed to below 300 levels, we've seen them losing state by state. So Haryana, Maharashtra, Delhi, and now the vice presidential election. Correct. So the momentum which the India bloc had after the 2024 Lok Sabha elections seems to be on the wane on a day-by-day basis. Now, specifically with respect to this election in Bihar and the next year elections, NDA announces a candidate from Tamil Nadu which will be going to polls next year. India bloc announces a candidate which will have polls 5 years later.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, this election, an election of Radhakrishan ji, will neutralize the Tamilian pride narrative of the DMK alliance. Because they have been talking about the alleged imposition of Hindi, interference by the governor, the NEET, etc., etc. The sub-nationalism plank, which the DMK has taken on a moral high plank, I think this will neutralize to some extent thereby. And I am just surprised at how Congress makes self-goals. Did anybody from the BJP tweet that this many MPs have voted for us? Did BJP tweet this? Why are we now questioning that Congress lost 15 votes? Because Congress itself tweeted that all our MPs have voted.
Correct.
Did BJP tweet that? So it's a self-goal. So the social media communications department of the Congress party is famous for making self-goals. BJP did not tweet so many MPs have voted for us. At least not seen, or a senior leader has not. They have tweeted, and now they are facing embarrassment because 315 MPs voted.
No, that's an interesting observation. Amitabh, that's a very interesting observation. They've kind of made it easy for the social media armies of the BJP to pick that up easily and attack them. They've put a number to it. They've given them the ammunition for it. But Sajjan, if I've got you back, the cracks in the India bloc That's hardly a new thing. It's exactly what I asked Amitabh as well. How do you read this? How much of a setback is this for the NDA, for the India bloc, I mean? Or do you think that they should take heart in, moral and political victories and, the fact that the victory margin has come down, etc., etc.? Should they feel happy about that, or do they have trouble on their hands because of this?
No. Let's first define what is moral and political in this election. Moral plank for India bloc had been that when you attribute the idea of saving the constitution behind the face, that is Sudarshan Reddy, then you give in your best, right? And we have seen that during the exercise from India bloc, Rahul Gandhi did not give in his best. In fact, he was missing from the kind of effort that was required, and you compare that to the India bloc. This is one. So when you attribute an idea that you claim to be, the soul of India and Indian democracy, the idea of constitutionalism, you were casual about that. And that is losing the moral plank. Now come to the political. The political was, as Amitabh ji said, forget about getting extra votes or ensuring cross voting, at least one or two, a couple of voting for your idea. You failed to retain your own stock, right? With yourself. So it's plus 25 versus minus 19. So it's a political and moral defeat for the India bloc if you go by the kind of commitment they have shown, not only on the political but also on the ideological level.
And yet, the idea of this moral and political defeat of the BJP is what is what all the spokespersons and the spin doctors of the India bloc will have to run with. That is the narrative that they will have to project right now in debates and discussions tonight on what is ultimately basically a setback to the India bloc. But I'm going to thank the both of you for the moment. Our conversation continues with Padmaja on the other side of this very short break. Remember, it is the big domestic story. There's a lot happening internationally as well. We've got our reporters in Nepal who will be joining you at 10 p.m. But the vice presidential victory right now for the NDA is the big political story. Who knew it's going to become such a big fracas? But it is. The big celebration at Consumer Affairs Minister, my apologies, I said Parliamentary Affairs Minister earlier, Prahlad Joshi's residence in just a short moment from now. Live coverage with Padmaja after this break.